4,964 5,000. 310 Carators Ixodemo Valor Maximota 5,000. Mi como mesmo nome, protagonizado por Oscar Isaac, Christian Bale e Charlotte Le Bon. Os lucros de música revertem para o International Rescue Committee, uma instituição humanitária que ajuda a reconstruir zonas de guerra e apoia refugiados. Os temas das Soundgarden integram a banda sonora de vários filmes. The musician Chris Cornell, well-known vocalist of the Soundgarden, died this Wednesday night in Detroit, United States. The singer was 52 years old. Cornell was also vocalist for The Audioslave and The Temple of the Dog, in addition to having edited some solo works. The information was confirmed to the Associated Press by the agent of the singer and guitarist. The sudden and unexpected death left the family in shock. Pub. In his statement, the musician's agent adds that the family will work closely with the medical research team to determine the cause of death. Relatives now ask for respect for their privacy. The American rock band formed in 1984 in Seattle, Washington, had taken the stage hours before in Detroit. The Soundgarden marked the chapter in the history of forged music in the Northwest USA in the late 1980s and early 1990s alongside bands like Nirvana, Alice in Chains and Pearl Jam. In the United States alone, the band sold more than 10 million albums. They were nominated for 9 Grammy Awards, having received 2 of them. Since learning to play drums at age 16, I was already out of school, he wrote in Mark Yarm's Everybody Loves Our Town. It would follow guitar, composition, various bands and a passion for the Beatles that came from childhood. The Soundgarden were, in fact, fundamental in the emergence of what we came to know as grunge, the rock movement that decisively marked the 1990s. Not only were the sound they preserved on early albums, such as EP Screaming Life, 1987, or the debut album, Ultra Mega OK, of the following year, show the combination of the attitude of hardcore punk with the weight of the Black Sabbath and the corrosion of the Stooges that would become brand of the genre. The genesis of Sub Pop, the publisher that was home to and symbol of grunge, lies at the moment when a radio broadcaster, Jonathan Poneman, approaches the band at the end of a concert. He was so thrilled with what he had seen that he wanted to finance the editing of a record himself. The Soundgarden advised him to join forces with Bruce Pavitt, a friend of the band and an enthusiastic rock scene buzzing at that time in Seattle. Thus was born the publisher who would later reveal the Nirvana. One of the reasons Kurt Cobain and Chris Novoselic joined Sub Pop was precisely this one in their catalog. Soundgarden, Screaming Life and Fop were the EP that they released there. Heroes of the Seattle underground scene would become the standard-bearers of the World Outside movement after signing by the multinational A&M, which earned them, as usual at the time, many critics of early fans, who considered the arrival to a great publisher a betrayal of the punk spirit that moved them. The albums Louder Than Love and most notably Bad Motorfinger, which was released in 1991 and which ended up in the shadow of Hurricane Nevermind, the album that catapulted Nirvana into stardom, showed a band that sounded well fury, anguish, and insurgent rock attitude associated with the grunge landscape. Jesus Christ Pose, the first single by Bad Motorfinger, which the band presented as criticism to those who misused religion for selfish purposes, was censored on MTV and earned the band many critics of the more conservative sectors of American society, who considered it an anti-Christian song. To the electric discharge of the songs, now furious, now showing the paced movements and the grave tone of the above-mentioned Black Sabbath, Chris Cornell, who had entered the Soundgarden as drummer, vocalist, overcame his undulating scream that could walk for 4 octaves, giving them a dramatic character that has become one of the Soundgarden's most recognized brands and has raised the most virtuous voice among those who made the rock of their generation. Turning to 2 of his heroes, we can say that in it was joined the bombastic drama of Robert Plant with the shrill urgency of Ozzy Osbourne. Joining Guns N' Roses at their peak of popularity, when they performed as the opening band of the 1991's Use Your Illusion tour, the Soundgarden began to broaden their music audience well beyond the independent community that followed them since the formation in the 1980s. In 1994, they would definitely become global stars with the addition of Superunknown, considered one of the classic albums of their time. On the role in the movement that the protagonists themselves rejected as a label, Cornell had a sober perspective. "We were not as much a part of this as many other bands, no one knew us, we did not go to parties, but at the same time, when many other Seattle bands began to have success and attention, we were very proud to be a part of it," he told Rolling Stone in 1994, months after Cobain's death and full success of Superunknown.